Could I ask trustees to take their seats? I think we all are. And maybe the audience, if you can find a seat, please. There. Excellent. There are chairs behind that partition there, if chairs would be more convenient for people. I know, but if they, I know. Just gonna let this gentleman find his. It's okay? Okay? All right. I'd like to call this meeting to order and ask you to stand with us for the national anthem.
We would like to acknowledge
that we are here today
on the traditional territory
of the Mississaugas of the New Credit First Nation.
Our home and native land, true patron love, in all thy sons command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, thou true north strong and from far. Stand on guard for thee. Thank you. Please be seated. I have regrets this evening from student trustee Marr. We have additions to our agenda. 6.1 is an addendum to our retirements. 6.3 are the school year calendars, 2018-2019, and 10.1 is an update on Asian Heritage Month activities. They're all in front of you, and so if you would insert them into the agenda where they're appropriate. Trustee Lawton.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And through you, I have a motion regarding the pride flag. And as we promised to deal with the issue tonight, I would like the board's indulgence to put it on this agenda and deal with it tonight. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, it really is in response to the delegations that we heard last meeting, although they aren't in your agenda, but we, as process, we do deal with them in 2 weeks. So with the board's indulgence, are we prepared to deal with that tonight? Everybody's shaking their head, no objections. All right, then I would like to place it on, pardon me? Yeah, but that's for another thing. Okay. I'd like to place it under new business, and I'd like to put it 9.1, just because all these friendly folks have come out tonight, and although it's wonderful to see you all, and at our board meetings, I'll try and deal with your item as quickly as we can. So if we put it as 9.1, then can everybody shift down 9.23, well, 9.1 to You know what I'm doing. Okay, Trustee McDonald.
Thank you. Through you, Chair. Just a correction to the agenda for items 7.2, 7.3, 7.4, and 7.5.
Yes.
The speaking order has been changed, and the delegations would like the speaking order as was requested.
Okay.
So if 7.3 could become 7.2.
Okay, so that's the first one. That's
That's the
easier
first
for me.
one.
Okay.
Okay, then 7.4 be the second one.
Yes.
7.5, number 3, and 7.2, number 4, please.
Okay.
Thank you.
Are there any objections from trustees rearranging that? I see none. Are there any other changes or additions to the agenda? Seeing none, then I will ask Trustee B. McDonald, will you put it on the floor as amended, and Trustee Cameron? As amended, all those in favor? Carried. Okay, then let's move on. So we have 2 special presentations this evening I'm looking forward to. So this is a special presentation by the staff. Are you speaking to this as well? No. By the staff and students of James Grieve Public School regarding Asian Heritage Month. And I'd like to make a few remarks before we welcome James Grieve to come down in front of us. Asian Heritage Month is a time to celebrate the many achievements and contributions of all Asian Canadians who throughout history have done so much to make Canada the culturally diverse, compassionate, and prosperous country we know today. Here at the board office, our celebrations began with a beautiful display of artwork that you may have seen out in the atrium on your way in tonight. If you haven't already had a chance, make sure you take a look at the paintings and collages and drawings that were created across the school system by our very own Peel students. This month, we held our annual Spotlight on Asian Heritage events at the board office on May the 8th and 9th, where over 500 students and teachers attended to learn more about the rich cultural traditions and contributions of Asian Canadians. Students and staff participated in a keynote and interactive workshop presentations led by Peel staff themselves that focused on this month's theme of Inspire Inclusion. Schools across Peel are celebrating Asian Heritage Month in their communities. Today, we're pleased to have a very special presentation by staff. I thought there were students involved in that too. By staff and students from James Grieve Public School. Please join me in welcoming James Grieve staff, Rita Singh and Savani Singlaw, and students. Oh. Help me? Don't know. Okay. Savajabir? Sahajabir. See, every day I learn. I try anyway. Beatty and Japji Saran, who will tell us about Asian Heritage Month activities at their school. So, if those individuals are here, where are you? There you are. And before we begin, I already apologize for those names. And if you could introduce yourself, then I'd know really how you pronounce your names.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Ritu Singh, and I'm a grade 7 teacher at James Grieve Public School. I'm accompanied today with my colleague, Shivani Singla, and our 2 student leaders, Sahajbir from grade 7 and Japji from grade 4. As Canadians, we have a sense of pride that we get to celebrate so many cultures in one country. In Canada, Canada welcomes everyone with open arms and a warm heart. Some of us and our forefathers are prime examples of how Canada and Canadians love and respect diversity. And today, we will talk about as proud James Grievians celebrate diversity and supporting and incorporating the school culture in our school, supporting the vision of PDSB, Peel District School Board. So, what is diversity? Sure. Diversity is the respect and value that we have for each other and each other's culture, irrespective of background, age, skin tone, and color, and other factors that make us unique and and make us the people who we are today and define our individuality. As Peel staff, we look at Peel's vision, and as residents, we know that the Peel board is committed to inspire inclusion, highlighting all diverse cultures and communities. Culturally responsive pedagogy is at the heart of our school, and you will find it in the roots of all our classrooms at James Grieve Public School. And I will now give the mic to my colleague Shivani, who will be sharing and talking about the Asian Heritage Month celebrations. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Shivani Singla, and I'm a grade 4 teacher at James Grieve Public School. Why is May called as Asian Heritage Month in Canada? So over the last 2 centuries, many immigrants from Eastern, Western, Southern, and Southeast Asia immigrated to Canada and contributed to the prosperity and growth of Canada. In May 2002, the Government of Canada officially declared May as the Asian Heritage Month to acknowledge their contributions. Therefore, we believe as educators that Asian Heritage Month offers all Canadians like us an opportunity to teach and learn more about the Asian Canadians. So how do we make that happen at James Grieve Public School? Each year, we meet together as a leading team to look at the what, where, when, how, to ensure that we achieve what we strongly believe in. Through team planning and through open communication, we focus on providing authentic learning experiences to our students so they embrace diversity. We provide leadership opportunities to our students, such as they lead conducting assemblies, distribution of food, teaching simple cultural dance steps to younger kids or games, and so much more. We also ensure that we involve our community and stakeholders, such as guest speakers, parents, grandparents who could do a cultural activity with our children. A month-long activity at Asian Heritage not only provides our kids a leadership opportunity, but it also helps us in building a strong, positive school climate at James Grieve. As staff, we accept, we appreciate, and we celebrate diversity through many different activities, such as staff cultural potlucks, cultural dress-up days, we exchange recipes, henna application, and so much more. And now Sahajbir and Japji are going to share their experiences with all of you. Thank you.
Hello and good evening to everyone. My name is Sahajbir Bedi and I'm a grade 7 leader at James Grieve Public School. Today, I'll be sharing some of the contributions we are doing for Asian Heritage. We had some guest speakers read to the students in different languages, as well as share their inspiring stories about their hardships and how they overcame it with dedication. A guest speaker recently spoke about discovering your own superpower. I realized that my superpower is speech and communication. I will help society through my ability by either inspiring them to create their own masterpiece or just simply entertaining them. I now know what I'm capable of and what I can achieve, and it will not be as easy as it seems, but anything is possible if you want it. James Grieve contributes to Asian Heritage Month through spreading knowledge using Google Slides. A spotlight of someone important is put on for the whole school to learn. Student leaders try educating and showcasing new people who have contributed to the world, and especially with the Asian roots. I had hands-on experience preparing a memorable video for our upcoming Asian Heritage Month assembly. The video shows the diversity and meaning of cultures. It portrays that here at James Grieve, we care. Here at James Grieve, we learn. It is something to be proud of, something to inspire yourself and others to become their best self by respecting and celebrating one of the most important events in Canadian history, Asian Heritage Month. Asian Heritage Month is also a great time to enhance our leadership skills. Some opportunities include fundraising for our school, food distributions, and many, many more. The reason for food is not only to raise money, but to experience another aspect or different culture. As students, we got exposed to different cuisines. I soon realized that though we may be different, every culture has their similarities. Student leaders also had the opportunity to run a student-led Asian Heritage Fair. The intermediate students organized and decided on the stations they wanted to showcase to students from kindergarten to grade 8. The learning was suitable for all ages. They taught students different dance forms such as the dragon dance, bhangra, and gidda. Students also enhanced their creativity through an origami, writing their own name from different languages, rangoli, and a tech center that tested students on how well they knew Asian cultures. Lastly, students enjoyed capturing some memorable moments through a photo booth. The school community came together to experience Asian traditions. Asian Heritage Month means a lot to James Grieve Public School. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Japji Saran, and I'm a grade 4 student at James Grieve. Out of many other ways we celebrate diversity at James Grieve is through the arts. At my school, we're really fortunate to have many opportunities to explore diversity and have a taste of Asian culture through dance, drama, and visual arts. To name a few, students in grade 5 explored the Chinese contribution to Canadian Railroad through drama. Grade 6s and grade 8s created their own interpretation of moments, people, places that reflect and celebrate Asian heritage through visual arts, as well as learning different Asian folk dances such as Punjabi, Gujarati, Japanese, and many more. I believe that we don't only do this for Asian Heritage Month, but we also do this to learn about each other's differences and traditions. We also celebrated Asian Heritage Month by experiencing the tradition of applying henna. Henna is a form of body art. Students and teachers came to our room and applied henna onto our hands. Henna is a very popular way we celebrate Asian heritage at my school. Not only we experience many traditions, but we also do a lot of learning in our classrooms, such as grade 8s at James Grieve are working on biographies about strong women of the Asian origin who have contributed the fields of medicine, sports, science, and the arts, and so much more to gain an appreciation of the wide scope of what Asian heritage entails. The grade 2s are doing culture bag presentations for social studies. Students in grade 4 are learning how to write haiku poems, which is a form of Asian Japanese poetry. Students in grade 2 and grade 4 explore the connections between social justice. Students' experiences of Gandhi's vision be the change through read-alouds in the library, writing their own stories, and creating posters. I think this is a very good learning experience to develop their appreciation for diversity. As proud Canadians, we are very fortunate to celebrate Asian heritage at James Grieve Public School. Thank you.
We are extremely fortunate to be here. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to highlight James Grieve's contribution for Asian heritage. Thank you.
Thank you. Sayajbir, I was listening to how you pronounced your name. I do apologize before. And Japji and your teachers, thank you very much for coming tonight. I know that I, as an individual trustee, have certainly participated in some of the events for a number of years and always enjoyed learning about South Asian history and the kind of contributions that South Asians have made throughout history to the to Canada as we know it now. It's always interesting to have a month or a week or whatever it is, but I know it's time to highlight and to focus so people can get a better understanding of who we are as Canadians. But it's not about a month, as you will know. It sounds like everybody at James Grieve is very invested in Asian heritage culture, and so we're really pleased about that. That is what diversity and inclusion is all about. And so I thank you for coming this evening, and I hope that we celebrate Asian heritage throughout the year in all of our schools. Thank you. And we have a second presentation from Big Brothers Big Sisters of Peel, and I believe Jim Van Buskirk. Are you here, Jim? I don't see him. Oh, there you are. Come on forward then. Mr. Van Busker is our chief social worker and does wonderful work with our students and staff. So welcome this evening.
Good evening, and thank you. Thank you for that. As many of you will know, I've been coming to these meetings for several years now to introduce some of our colleagues from Big Brothers Big Sisters of Peel. And the purpose of the visit tonight is really twofold. One is to update you on the collaborative work we're doing together to support our students. And the second, more excitedly, is to kick off our annual employee mentoring recruitment drive, whereby staff are provided an hour a week that they may volunteer to go and work in a school in one of our schools in our system to provide a mentoring experience for a student. One of the amazing things about Big Brothers and Big Sisters of Peel in my many years of working with them is their incredible flexibility and adaptability as they strive to meet the changing needs, the ever-changing needs of our communities. And you'll hear more about this tonight and some of the terrific work they're doing. So it's my great pleasure to introduce to you tonight Susan Nomi, Director of Programs, and Natalie Brahma, a school-based mentoring caseworker who will share more details with you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I knew we would start with technical difficulties. Thank you so much for having us this evening and for welcoming Natalie and I to talk to you a little bit about the work that Big Brothers Big Sisters of Peel has done this year in the schools. And so we can share some of our exciting highlights. Pardon? So as many of you know, Big Brothers Big Sisters of Peel and the Peel District School Board have been collaborating together on delivering school-based mentoring programs since 1996. That's 22 years of working together. And I wanted to thank all of you, the trustees, the superintendents, the principals, our director of education, and all our wonderful excellent school partners who've actually made this possible. This year, we were able to serve 650 elementary and secondary school students in our mentoring programs, and we're very proud of that achievement together. We're also celebrating, as Jim referenced, 14 years of employee mentoring. Since 2004, we've had Peel District School Board employees who've been devoting an hour a week to a student in a school for a full school year and providing that child with a mentoring experience. And we know that the mentoring experience for kids really makes a difference in their life, that individual attention, that person that's there for them and helps them feel special. The impacts we see are things like increased self-esteem, increased communication skills, a more positive attitude about school, improved peer relationships, all things that are really building blocks for academic success. And so we're very thankful for all of our Peel District School Board mentors and all our mentors who participate so wonderfully in the in-school mentoring program. Right now we have 25 Peel District School Board mentors who devote time every week. And we're really looking forward to this kickoff that Jim referenced to recruit new Peel District School Board mentors. If any of you are interested, you only have to call me. It's very easy. So please feel free to do that. And we want to thank our Director of Education, Peter Joshua, for helping us kick off that recruitment campaign with a letter to all the employees. And I know from talking to so many of Peel District School Board employees over the year that it really makes a difference that the Director of Education supports this mentoring program, and that really makes a really strong difference in them giving of their time and being there for kids, for students. So thank you. So this is just a quick overview of the 8 school-based mentoring programs that we have. And we've talked a little bit today about the in-school mentoring program, that we served 115 children in 65 schools this year, and that we had 25 Peel District School Board employee mentors. The teen mentoring program is also a really successful program where we actually offer leadership development opportunities for secondary school students to be mentors at a nearby elementary school for the full school year as well. And we provide them with some leadership support and ongoing support in their mentoring relationships. So it's a great experiential learning thing for secondary school students. We have our Conversation Club program and our Newcomer Art program that serve newcomer children. And our Go Girls and Game On program that are gender-specific programs that really work with youth, children and youth around healthy eating and active living. And those are for students in grades 6 to 8. I really wanted to highlight this evening the new programs that we've been working on this year specifically for specific populations of children and youth. And so the Youth in Care program is one of those very specific programs that targets a demographic of youth that really need some extra support. So in the in-school mentoring program, we actually have youth that have been referred to us, and they have an open file with the Children's Aid Society, and we're able to match them with adult mentors for that school year. It makes an incredible difference for them to have someone to talk to and to someone who understands the kinds of experiences that they've had. One of the things that I'm very, I guess, proud of for the board is that many of our youth in care mentors are actually Peel District School Board employees. So we choose our best, our strongest, our most patient, our most understanding mentors to be mentors to youth in care children. And so I'm really proud for all of us that Peel District School Board mentors are really highly represented in our youth in care matches. We also expanded our Newcomer Art program, which was a new program we piloted for a short time last year, and we've expanded it this year. And it's an elementary school program for newcomer children. And we promote their English language skills, we provide them with social support through their mentoring relationships and through art-based activities. So it's a really exciting program, and the children in the schools are really enjoying it. In early 2018, we received funding from the Ontario Ministry of Citizenship and Immigration to expand our Go Girls program, specifically to meet the needs of refugee and vulnerable newcomer girls. And so we've adapted that program, we've looked at the curriculum and made adaptations to that, and we're piloting it currently with 3 middle schools. And so we're really looking forward to getting the feedback from the schools and from the girls and learning about this program and being able to expand this program in the upcoming school year. And finally, one of the most exciting things that happened to our organization this year was that we received funding under the Ontario Black Youth Action Plan to expand an existing program that we've been doing since 2013 in partnership with the Black Community Advisory Council of the United Way of Peel Region. And we have been doing a community-based program since 2013, and we received funding under the Ontario Black Youth Action Plan to expand this program and to expand it to create a school-based program, a culturally specific school-based mentoring program. And we wanted to tell you about that this evening, and so Natalie is here to share her experience in the program. She's an very experienced caseworker with our organization, and so she's been leading this program development.
So the BCAC Teen Mentoring Program is a friendship-based, ethno-specific mentoring program where Black high school students in grades 10 to 12 mentor Black elementary-age students for 1 hour a week during school hours. So the current schools that we're in are Glen Forest Secondary School, Glen Haven Senior Public School, we're in Fletcher's Meadow Secondary School, Brisdale Public School, Chinguacousy Secondary School, and Jefferson Public School. So the program empowers Black elementary students by matching them with positive, caring, and responsible Black high school mentors from their school community. I've been with the agency for 8 years, working within the teen mentoring program, and I can honestly say that the instant connections and how comfortable the students are with their mentors have been amazing to see. Even today, I had a mentee come up to me and say, I love Tuesdays. I'm like, why do you love Tuesdays? She's like, because my mentor looks like me. So some of these stories really do help us to see that these programs make a difference. Black youth mentors have the opportunity to attend 6 strength-based leadership workshops before they start mentoring within the elementary schools. And these workshops focus on mentorship, cultural identity, cross-cultural relationships, advocacy, self-care, communication, and conflict resolution. Throughout the workshops, we promote student voice, and we help them to discuss and evaluate their lived experiences as Black youth living in Peel. We truly believe that our mentors are the experts of their experiences, so we provide a safe space and open discussion, and our mentors have voiced that they enjoy and appreciate the support that they get through the program. Mentors in the workshops learn successes and contributions to society by the Black community, which we focus on a holistic approach to building them up, encouraging them, and strengthening them by allowing them to recognize that they are resilient, successful, and can rise above negative stereotypes in society. We had a mentor that gave a testimony, and she's in grade 12, and she stated, "It's amazing to see the excitement that the mentees have when we walk in. Being able to see that they may be shy in class, but they feel confident around you, and you did that. You changed them. I'm Jamaican, and I'm learning about different cultures. My mentee is from Dominica, but even though we are different, we are the same. Being able to learn about people in our history, it's amazing to be teaching kids that our history isn't just slavery. There are all these people that did all these amazing things for us, and we don't see them all the time. Exposing the kids to that is incredible." In the program, being able to see positive Black youth representation from our high school mentors helps the elementary school students view themselves to strive to be mentors and leaders in their community. Our elementary students in the program think their high school students are honestly the coolest thing ever. They are so fascinated when they walk into the room. This is the first year where I've actually had grade 4 mentees practice how they were going to greet their mentors when they walked into the room. So that was quite amazing to see. And of course, they have all these different questions on what it's like to be a teenager and what it's like to be in the neighboring high school, because they have all these different ideas of the ins and outs of being a teenager. So throughout the sessions, we participate in fun, cultural-specific activities such as exploring celebrations, current and past achievements in Black history, Kwanzaa principles, drumming circle workshops, art activities that help them to explore their cultural identity, such as the picture above with our young boys with their flags, and also creating heritage memory boxes and attending goal-setting workshops from organizations such as I Can, We Can. Elementary students not only gain one-on-one time with a positive role model, they gain a sense of community and belonging in their school community.
So as we close tonight, we want to thank you so much for all your support and all the support you've offered over the years. And we want to invite you to our annual Big Brothers Big Sisters picnic. I'm sure you've had that invitation before. And so we are having it on Wednesday, July 11th at the Mississauga Valley's Community Center picnic area at 6:30. And I will give Jim Van Buskirk an electronic invitation that he can share with all of you. And we would love to see you there. And we'll invite all our students that have been participating in the mentoring programs, and their parents and their mentors, and the youth and families from our other programs as well. So it's a great celebration, and please join us. You'd be very welcome. So thank you again for your time tonight.
Thank you for coming tonight. Before you go, I don't know how long our partnership has been with Big Brothers Big Sisters, but it's been a long time. Do you know that?
22 years.
Did you say that? Did I miss that?
That's okay, it's on one of our slides, but I don't think it's all that.
22 years. It's significant if you think about all the children that the organization has touched and impacted in a very positive way. We are so pleased to be a partner with Big Brothers Big Sisters. I was having dinner with friends of ours, very close friends actually, and the fellow had recently retired, as we're all thinking about doing that at my age. And he was looking for a few things, you know, that he'd like to do. And we talked about coaching. We talked about a lot of things. And I said, you know, you'd make a great big brother. Raised 2 sons, et cetera, has a grandson. I said, you make a great big brother. So he said, I don't know what that is. Oh, tell me about that. So I told him about what I knew about the school program. And he said, sign me up. So I'll be getting some information so that I can send to him. But there's one more recruit, and I know he'll make a great big brother. So it's so important, and hopefully I'm planning to retire myself, and I'd like to find some time to be able to do that as well. So thank you very much for all the great work you do. Our students appreciate it. Okay, so are there any declarations of conflict of interest? Seeing none. Then let's go to the minutes. 3.1 is the Special Education Advisory Committee meeting of April 17th. 3.2 is the Physical Planning and Building Committee meeting of May 7th. 3.3 is the regular meeting of the board, May 8th. Would someone, Trustee Crockery, put those on the floor, seconded by Trustee Williams. Are there any changes, omissions, additions to any of that in group 3? Seeing none, all those in favor? Carried. Then are there any written questions, notices of motion, or, petitions? I'm doing 2 things at once. That's not good at my age. Okay. I see none. Then let's move on to 6. Section 6 is here for receipt. 6.1 and 6.1A, which is the addendum. 6.2, 6.3, which is the school year calendars. That was added to the agenda. Trustee Andrews, will you put section 6 on the table, and Trustee DeCruz, you'll second that. Are there any comments? There are. Trustee Green.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, I just want to speak to 6.2 for a minute, just to really take the time to really give a big shout out to all the crossing guard within Peel and across the region for the job that they do on a daily basis, ensuring that our children are crossing the school. When they're on their way to school, they're crossing in a safe manner. Just this morning, I was on my way to Louise Albert, and the traffic was so congested over in Father Tobin, and only to see the crossing guard over there, because there was a number of students who was crossing, trying to make sure that all these students was crossing and they were crossing safely in a safe manner. And I just want to take the time to say thank you for what you do day in and day out to ensure that our children are being looked after and that they're safely on their way to school and from school. So really appreciate that the work they do, and I know often people may see and say, okay, they might get paid for this, but it takes people with love for children to do this job, because I know it doesn't pay much. So really want to say thank you very much for the job that you do and continue to do for our kids. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Crocker.
Thank you, Chair. With reference to 6.3, the school calendar, may I request that since our community partners are very interested in this information and find it helpful, that trustees could have an electronic copy of that sent to them, and I'll apologize if it's already been sent to us and I've overlooked it, but it would be helpful.
Yes, certainly. We can make sure we do that. And of course, it will be, now that it's approved, it'll be posted on our website, but all school websites as well.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Kay McDonald.
Thank you. Through you, Chair, I also wanted to just publicly acknowledge Giselle, who is a crossing guard of the year in Brampton in 2016. She's actually retiring this month, and she's at the tender age of 93. So she's an amazing, she knows each kid by name. She knows some of their parents. She's just a wonderful addition to our community in Peel Village. So congratulations to her.
Thank you. Well, there we are. I don't know why all you people think you can retire at like in your 60s. 93. There's a target. All those in favor of Section 6? Thank you. Let's move then to our delegations. And I've reworked this right here. Okay, so a little bit of paper. No, it wasn't. Here we go. So number 1, I'd like to call forward Janice Gordon. No. We're starting with Kim Bokey. There you are. Sorry. Almost made you wait another hour, but there we are. And Kim's here to talk about raising the pride flag. Yes, please. Welcome. Come forward.
Thank you. Good
I think it's
evening.
on. There you go.
I am the mother of 2 children, a girl and a boy. My daughter attended Peel Schools from 1 to 12, and my son has attended Peel Schools from grades 1 to 11. My eldest was well prepared for university, thanks to the professionals in our school system. Both of my kids have consistently been given attention and shown great kindness and concern from teachers and administrators. Thank you. Recently, a friend of mine advised me that she had learned on Facebook that the school board had been petitioned to fly the gay pride flag for the month of June. I Googled this and learned it was true. I emailed each of the trustees for the Peel District School Board and was graciously answered by many of you. Thank you. Thank you for this opportunity to address you today. As I see it, the gay pride flag represents loyalty to divisive identity politics that we need not increase the promotion of in our schools. Fathers and mothers teach their children how to think about their gender and guide them as they mature into sexually active adults. I am not intolerant of others' views. I applaud a diversity of opinion, but I do not want others' views imposed on me or on our children. Our children spend a lot of time at school, and hopefully in most cases, parents have taught their children to make every effort to respect and pay careful attention to their teachers. As a result, teachers are influential with our children. The school board, directed by the government, has already gone too far in their dictates to teachers on how and what they are to instruct our children to think in regards to their sexuality. Flying the gay pride flag at our schools would be more evidence of this egregious overreach. In my opinion, our gay students need the psychological space to develop their beliefs and expression without being haunted by some kind of aggressive, alienating political group identity at their schools. The gay pride flag is purported to be representing inclusion. Who would be against that? But it seems to me when it is elevated to a level like a national flag, as if it represents all of us, it becomes totalitarian in nature, an ideological statement. Flying at our schools would be making a demanding statement, something like all students and teachers of Peel District School Board are to accept these politics. It is my experience that not all people, gay or otherwise, feel the need to identify with this flag. It is also my experience that politically correct intolerance to differing beliefs has begun to poison the culture of our schools. Teachers, parents, and students are afraid to speak their minds about the uneasiness they are feeling with the identity politics percolating in our schools. All of our students need support, and more than anything, what kids want is attention. They will primarily get this attention and support from their families and friends, their community. If we start with one group's flag, then it will be another, and there will be no end to the division. It is not possible for materialist, physicalist, naturalist metaphysics that permeates our public schools, completely devoid of any philosophical or religious training, to equip our children to deal with the ideologies behind these flags of group identity. So please, don't fly them. I went to school in Canada, a free country where I was free to believe and speak whatever I wanted, popular or not. Here I am today, in a free country, speaking my mind. Let us not take this for granted. Let us encourage an environment where many views can be discussed. Let us have conversations that are not shut down by a politically correct environment. Hopefully it is not too late. Hopefully you can find it in you to say no to flying the gay pride flag. Our kids are reminded of their freedom every day when they sing, "O Canada, the true north, strong and free. God keep our land glorious and free." Outside of their schools waves a Canadian flag. Thank you.
Thank you. I was just gonna, you can just, I don't see any questions of clarification from any trustees. So I thank you very much for coming forward this evening and giving us your opinions, as is our process. We will respond to your delegation at our next board meeting, which is June, what is it? June 5th. Do you have notes, or do we have your notes from your delegation? It's helpful to us to respond authentically to what you've said, so if you wouldn't mind giving them to one of the ladies over here, that would be extremely helpful. Thank you very much.
Okay,
Okay, so I think we can move on then. We're going to take 7.3 as our first delegation around the We Rise Together. Well, no, it's not necessarily. Anyway, could I ask Janice Gordon to come forward? She's delegating tonight on a school issue. And so if you'll come forward, thank you, to the microphone. That would be helpful. Welcome, thank you.
As you all know, my name is Janice Gordon. Look in the face of any kindergarten student and you'll find some common themes. Innocence, unquenchable curiosity, and potential. That's my opening statement. On Thursday, May 10th, 2018, an incident occurred with one of the students at one of your schools. He brought a snack to school inside of his lunch bag. When it was lunchtime, he took the snack out. His teacher yelled at him in the classroom to throw the snack in the garbage. My nephew complied without questioning. On Friday, May the 11th, which is the following day, the same teacher took it upon herself to send home with my nephew the same snack that was thrown in the garbage the day before, in a plastic bag with a handwritten note. My nephew, he's only 9 years old. He's been identified as an IEP and IPRC student by the Peel Board of Education as a special needs. Therefore, he does require support. above anything else, his human rights have been violated. He was belittled in front of all of his classmates by the teacher yelling at the top of her voice, telling any child to throw their snack in the garbage is not at all acceptable. This adds damage to that child's ego. The teacher in question takes the snack out of the garbage and sends it home with a note for the parent to see. How despicable, unprofessional, and troubling. The lines have been crossed and damage has been done, and I fear for him while he's still at that school. Yes, I am aware that he has some challenges and accommodations are put in place for him. He's constantly being singled out by his teacher and his lunchroom supervisor. The other kids now look at him as though he is incompetent. My nephew has been ostracized. Our education system is not doing enough to address the specific needs of our young black boys. To me, what this incident illustrates, there are no role models where my nephew can identify with. When I met with the principal, the question I posed, does her administration staff reflect the diversity of the students in her school? She looked at me as though I had two heads. I then break it down so that she can comprehend. I said again, does her administration staff looks like Mr. Green, the trustee? She looked at me, she looked at the vice principal, and she paused. Those were her gestures. I think so. And I said, but you are the principal and you don't know what your administration staff look like? To be effective, we need to be reflective. I realize the magnitude of my actions by standing before you, fighting for equality. May we empower each other to carry out the vision of equality. One must believe in it. One must work at it. Mr. Director of Education, I don't know who you are, but we spoke on the phone. Let us work at it together, starting now. In one of your definitions, we only hire the best. How do we define the best? The ethical standards of your staff was violated. I reiterate, to be effective, we need to be reflective. Thank you.
Thank you. If you could just stay for one moment. Thank you. Do we have a script of your remarks?
Yes, I did
Yes,
submit
thank
it.
you very much for that. I do have a couple of trustees who want to ask you some questions of clarification. That's all there'll be. Thank you. Trustee Singh.
Yeah, hi. Right. You said there was a note. Was there anything written on the note? I didn't.
Yes, do you have the note there with you? Where is she? Where's your handbag?
You can paraphrase it if you.
Yes, there was the note that happened a week ago. She just went to the washroom. I should have walked with the note. Yeah.
I'd like to see the note here.
Sure, absolutely. Absolutely.
Scan it and send it to us.
Okay, I can scan that and send it to you. Yes. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Sure.
So, okay. Trustee Williams.
Thank you, Madam Chair. It's related to the notes. Was there a reason given by the teacher for his or her action relative to the lunch that was sent home or thrown in the garbage?
When I met with the principal had told the parent that she is listening to her staff. So basically, whatever was written on the note, whatever the little boy said, meant nothing.
So there can't be a good reason for his or her behavior.
That's right.
Thank you.
I have no other questions, but I'm glad you're here. You know, we deal with people every day, and it affords us the opportunity to address some of the concerns that are within our system and do it in a very thoughtful and responsive way. So if I could just understand, we're dealing with a teacher who you claim yelled, and that, of course, is inappropriate. The child was instructed to throw the snack into the garbage bin, and he did. The teacher, and I don't know the family situation, but the teacher has never explained why?
No.
So you don't know why the snack was in the bin?
Okay, let me go back a little bit. What one of the students have actually had said is that that snack may contain traces of nuts. But the teacher should have actually vet the snack to see whether or not there were any traces of nuts on the snack. That wasn't done.
Okay. Oh, and we don't know what was on the note. Okay, that would be helpful. I know, and I'm not going to put anybody on the spot, but we certainly will need that information in order to respond.
Absolutely.
And so I'm sure we can get that.
Yes.
Okay, all right. And I'm hoping that the note says that this snack contained peanuts, but let's wait and see.
Okay, I will email that to Mr. Joshua. I don't know what he looks like and who is he.
He's right here. He's right here.
Oh,
Director of Education.
Oh, okay.
Okay?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. There are two. See, if we talk long enough, it becomes a discussion. Oh, we have a copy of the note, Director
You
Joshua
do, yes.
says.
Yeah.
Yes, we
Yeah.
do. Trustee K. McDonald.
Okay. That being said, do you have the
Just
copy
heard.
with you?
No, I don't. Go ahead. If you push your button, I can recognize you. Go ahead.
Thank you. Just to clarify that we did connect with Ms. Burrows, and we do have a copy of the note, and there is some work that has taken place to investigate this situation. But we do have a copy of the note, so we can share that information. I don't have it with me here.
Oh, okay.
But we can share that.
Thank you. Well, my question is to you is that, just so that I understand, that the food item was thrown into the garbage.
Correct.
So it stayed there overnight, and the following day it was taken out of the garbage and sent back home with the child.
Correct.
Okay.
Well, okay. How do we know that? That it sat there for a whole overnight?
The little boy threw it in the garbage.
Yes.
So
And it was returned the next day in a Ziploc bag.
Yep.
Right, I think we're making too big an assumption.
Okay, so I'll rephrase it. So the food was thrown into the garbage.
Yes.
Correct.
Then it was taken out of the garbage.
Right.
And
Correct.
given to the individual to take home.
Correct.
Right.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Correct.
Okay, Trustee Green.
I just need to, couple things from my own knowledge and clarification. So, you spoke to the principal. Who do you, did you speak to anybody else before you speak to the director?
Repeat again, sorry?
Did you speak to anyone else prior to speaking to the director about this?
No, I met with the principal first.
Yes.
And then that same evening, I penciled the director and the
Okay.
superintendent.
Okay, all right. Did you talk to your local trustee?
No, I did not speak with the trustee.
Okay.
Because I didn't know who was the trustee at the time.
Right.
You know, and today I was told that Miss McDonald, I think it is,
Okay.
and Miss Nurse is the trustee for that school.
Okay, all right, good. All right, thanks. I just wanted to know if it was me, because I would need to know.
Okay.
Thanks. Because I would be all over that.
I was going to say, was that relief in your voice, Trustee Green? Or no, I'm only kidding. I'm only kidding. And we do take these things very seriously. So, I almost called you doctor. Director Joshua is on it, so to speak, and he said he's already working on this and gathering more information. And so in 2 weeks, June 5th, I expect that we will have a response to your delegation. And if you're unable to be here, by the way, it will be on our agenda, but we will certainly mail you or email you the response and any action that comes out of that response.
Okay, that's June 5th?
June the 5th is the next board meeting.
Okay, I will be here.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, can we ask Danita Barrows to come forward, please? No? Yes? Danita Barrows? So welcome.
Danita has some anxiety. She's nervous, so I'm going to be just here standing for support.
We aren't that scary.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for having me. My name is Danita Burrows. I'm the mother of the child in question regarding the snack, put it into the bin, and sending home that stated "eat" on it. And I just want to say that since this incident had occurred, following many more incidents, I don't feel safe anymore. I do not feel safe when I'm at home and my child is at school with these same, I should say, educators, also their mothers, and I really don't feel safe with them, with my kid, because I think worse could happen. And I just want to say that I hope something could happen regarding this matter, and I hope that it could stop and it wouldn't happen again. Thank you.
Thank you. If you could just wait a minute. I don't see anybody with a question of clarification. Trustee K. McDonald.
Thank you. Just 2 points of clarification. Because you said the note said "eat it" on it?
Yeah, I have it here.
Okay.
It states almond granola, eat after school. It's an oatmeal bar, but apparently it consists of a few peanuts, which we were not aware of. My son put it in his bag without knowing. So,
but what does the note say?
It says almond granola, eat after school, please.
Oh, because it has trace elements of peanuts in it. And so the teacher, okay, I understand.
I'm not so, yeah, I'm not so sure about that, but even if she wanted to do this, I don't know why would you make him throw it in the bin and then take it out back the bin.
Yeah.
So
Okay, well, I'm sorry.
Sorry, no, I'm just saying my question is because I don't understand that if food went in the garbage,
yes,
how a teacher that has a duty to care for a kid could throw it in the garbage. So when I was made aware of the situation, I was following up on it because I'm letting the due process occur, which is the superintendent and the principal are investigating, and we're waiting for the results.
Right.
So I am following up on it, just for the record. But I just wanted to be clear that you said that the note said on it, eat it.
Yeah,
And your son
right
had
here.
put it in the garbage. It doesn't matter how long it stayed in the garbage. I think the issue is that it went in the garbage and then somebody was told to eat it.
That's what
So
I'm
that's what your
concerned about.
concern is?
Yes,
Okay,
that's-
thank you.
No, can I clarify that? Because I heard that the note said, eat it after school.
Yeah.
Okay, let's be sure what the note says.
Sorry. No, but just to clarify, the incident happened on a Tuesday.
Thursday.
Sorry, a Thursday.
It happened
And
on a Wednesday, sorry, and it was sent home the Friday. So when I saw it in
Right.
the bag, I asked my son, what is this? Weren't you told to put this in the garbage? How did it meet into your bag? He said, I don't know. He's like in shock.
Right. So just so that I totally understand from what I understood, on Wednesday,
yes,
it was placed in the garbage by your son as he was instructed to do.
yes,
And by Friday,
Yes.
it was returned to him with a note
yes,
to eat it.
yes.
Thank you.
But can I clarify, the note said, eat it after school.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It doesn't matter when.
I know,
you have to
I
eat
just
it.
want.
It was in the garbage.
I understand, but the note, I want to make sure everybody is aware of what the note said. I understand the nuance of who would eat something that's been in the garbage. I get that, but I want to make sure everybody's aware that what the note actually said, because everybody was quite interested in that. And I thank you for coming forward. I know this is difficult, but again, we don't back off any of these kinds of issues. This board is absolutely committed to inclusion and equity and helping all of our children be successful. So I thank you for coming. Yes,
I know
Trustee Green.
I know it's our normal procedures to respond to delegation following board meeting, but I'm going to ask, for this particular situation, we do not respond to this parent until a proper investigation is concluded, so we have some answer for her.
Fair
Thank you.
enough. And we will leave that up to the judgment of Director Joshua, correct? Okay, so what I was trying to say was that I appreciate you coming forward. We really do. We want to hear from the public with regard to some of your concerns, and so I thank you. And as Trustee Green said, and he's very right, in that we will take as long as we need to make sure that we have a fulsome investigation and answers or actions to the allegations. Okay, but I looked at Director Joshua, and he agreed that he thinks he can have this for June the 5th. If we can't, we'll certainly notify you, and so you don't make a trip for nothing.
Thank you.
Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you very much. So our next delegation is by Nicole Brooks. Welcome.
I'm used to performing, but this is very different.
Ah.
Good evening, Madam Chair, esteemed board members and trustees. Thank you for holding an audience with me tonight to allow to share my story, and you'll see how I link it back to a particular initiative that you guys have started. My name is Nicole Brooks. I'm a mother of two, and I've been living in the region of Peel for over 10 years. I am a professional artist. My parents still don't know what that means. I am a film director, I am a theater director, and I'm a writer, and I do all sorts of things, and I've committed my life into sharing narratives of Blacks on stage and on screen, just in search to see myself. However, the big gig that I have is being a mom, especially to this 13-year-old boy that I'm going to tell you about. My son's name is Asa. I do have a daughter. Well, she's sleeping. But we're talking about Asa tonight. Only a few weeks ago, I was notified by the homeroom teacher that he was failing his classes, as marks as low as 0 to 18%, but bumped up to 45. Now, this was a huge shift for me, and I had to become literally a detective to find out what was happening. So I wrote back to the teacher, and I worked with the guidance counselor, and the first approach we did was just to see how his marks could improve. And we came up with a game plan. But I also started to dig to say, no, I think there's something further that's happening with him, because it just didn't fit his profile throughout all the years that he's been in school. Let me give you context to what kind of kid that we're dealing with. My son's EQAO scores indicate that he is above average and university bound. His marks has never plummeted to this degree until this year. He is now experiencing anxiety and has expressed how discouraged he is in a classroom being targeted by an angry teacher, sometimes somewhat of an aggressive behavior, and is often teased or laughed at his peers in the classroom. I have had several meetings now with the guidance counselor, principal and vice principal, almost weekly at this stage to ensure to save my son prior to his transition to high school. This led me to think about an experience that I had when I was going to university at Carleton. One of my best friends committed suicide by jumping off a building. He was male, Black, 6'5", maybe close to 300 pounds. At his funeral, they said that he had mental issues that a lot of us were not aware of, which I can digest and understand. He was also cited days before committing suicide by saying he was tired of being feared. He was tired of how he was treated in the classroom. So this hit home for me and has stayed with me as I now rear my child, who is kind of big for his age. He plays for the Brampton Bulldogs, linebacker. And I think to myself, is this how it begins? Not all mental cases, quote unquote, necessarily happens inherently or being born with, but the environment that perhaps they're in and how they feel. We can't dismiss our climate today when we watch on the news and we see a lot, especially in American sensationalism, about how Black men are being targeted by the police, shot, or young men wearing hoodies. Even now, for me, I have to admit, I'm a little nervous when my son says he wants to go up to the Max to get a freezy, and I said, whoa, I'll take you. Now, our experience today highlights the macro of what is happening. Yes, in the macro. Racism is real. Whether it's done consciously or unconsciously, it is still the same thing and is heavily embedded in privilege. Thus, teachers may or may not be aware about what they may be doing. There needs to be steps taken to really look at the unique circumstances Black young men live through our society and how mental health issues can arise by coping within our society. So, in my digging, I learned about the We Rise Together initiative. And up until this recent predicament, I had no knowledge that this organization or this incentive or program existed. When I went on the Peel website, I noted only one link that took me to a document outlining the objective of the program. And a good friend of mine, who is also an educator in Peel, walked me through it and let me know of a parent committee meeting that I just went last week. And there I became delegate, and I'm here today. The parent committee meeting that night served as a huge eye-opener as to what I needed to do as a parent to advocate for my son, and how it was imperative to speak up and share my personal experience in an environment where all these parents understood my plight that we face every day with our Black boys. Outside of my sharing of the experience that I'm currently having with my son, and we're still working through his anxiety and ensuring that his marks get up before high school in less than 28 days of graduation of grade 8, I would like to review the board's milestones achieved through We Rise initiative. Not to say that I'm opening the floor for you guys to answer immediately, but what are those achievements, seeing that this initiative began in 2017? Where is this information found? What is the reporting system of these successes and/or developments? Also, can there be a link of available resources for our children that comes to the board's attention for all parents to access? From my short time, literally one meeting, from We Rise, it is painfully clear that there needs to be an accountability anchor. My main question is, what are we able to do immediately? What are the short-term goals, along with the plans of future? Is there a tangible timeline we can discuss or see? Through my own experience, in addition to the anti-racism training that the principals shared with me that they were undergoing, what are the policies that are in place to regulate teachers? Is there staff assigned to its full implementation and execution of this amazing program? What are the consequences to severe cases, and how will they be executed? There needs to be a support system put in place to provide immediate assistance for both affected and non-affected students, so they know their rights on what can be done to punish offenders of their enjoyment to learn. Maybe there could be a marketing campaign that can help, for instance, to get the ball rolling. Maybe a student bill of rights, for lack of a better term. I want to urge the board to do something now to change some of their teachers' behaviors and to take immediate corrective actions in situations where there's clear mistreatment of Black students due to racial bias. I urge the board dedicated resources as well, especially to staff, to advance the objective of We Rise strategy and support families in addressing issues as they arise. Without ongoing sustainable resources, none of this can move forward, and Black staff or the parents are just not enough for this initiative. Overall, I, along with other parents, are truly fighting for our children. We are happy that We Rise Together has been created to ensure, one, that our children feel welcomed in school, feel valued, feel safe, and are free to learn and engaging fully within their school and internal activities and structures. Two, that educators create inclusive learning environment for Black males to promote positive Black narratives and cultures. Three, that educators engage in training to help them see themselves through a wider lens and to help identify any biases that they may have, conscious or subconscious, and how these biases affect and impact the fairness and lack of equality our children face. Four, that educators treat our children with respect and care, that they believe in hope and ability of our Black children to succeed, the same thing afforded to other children. Now I'm speaking on behalf of and as a member of the parent committee. My story, along with many other parent comrades that I have here today, that we illustrate the various type of mistreatments that our Black children and youth experience in the Peel District Public Schools. We feel that all our stories share the same theme, and that is of racial bias that exists and permeates through our board. And we ask this Board of Trustees to commit to putting an end to these instances of mistreatment of students by implementing a zero-tolerance policy on racial bias across all school boards, Peel schools, that strictly hold teachers accountable for their actions with resulting consequences. thank you so much for hearing me out. And I will say, Madam Chair, before I completely end, if you see me sneak out before the end of this meeting, it's because my 6-year-old has knocked out on the side. Thank you so much.
Could you wait one moment?
Certainly.
I think we'll forgive your 6-year-old, but no one else. Okay?
Thank you so much, Madam Chair.
I do have, Trustee DeKroob has a question of clarification.
Yes, of course.
Thank you. I really appreciate your presentation.
Thank you so much.
I completely, I mean, I can't even imagine as a mom. I'm a mom myself, but I can't even imagine what, you know, some of the thoughts that some parents go through when they're, you know, thinking about our children and the world today. But anyway, you mentioned this already in your presentation. You asked for some of the accountability measures, and I'm wondering, I know we're going to respond, and some of that information is going to be there already, but for myself, I think it would also be helpful if we could get a summary of all of the activities that have already taken place for the We Rise Together report, for the We Rise Together initiative. So and I would like a little bit of detail. I'd like to know how many anti-oppression trainings have already taken place, how many people approximately have attended those, and how these trainings are being used in schools, how many teachers have actually been trained. So I'd like to essentially know what we've actually done so far.
Okay, and that was my first thought, of course, was I know that we have that information at the ready, because I know that curriculum have put it together for other purposes. Trustee DeKroob, if I could ask if you would email some of those, all of those, or detailed questions, so that we can be sure to capture them in the response. And that goes for everybody if you want to know about the initiatives that are currently taking place within the system.
Madam Chair, may I interject? Definitely with my asking those questions wasn't indicating that nothing happened, but because I could not find any of that anywhere, it just begged to say, how do we find out more about what's going on and why I've stated about the level of accountability, not as a rap on the knuckles, but saying, I don't see the information, so I don't know. And I say this on behalf of the parent committee as well.
And I don't think we meant to infer that at all. It's just, you make a good point, and we need to reiterate and constantly talk about the initiatives and gather input into those initiatives, how we can make them better, more effective, etc. The one that I am coming to Trustee McDonald, but you asked many questions within your presentation. I just ask if do we have notes on that?
You received something on Friday, but
Okay.
I've elaborated my speech, so I could email it easily.
It would be great if you would do that, and you can do you have Ms. Mueller's, the director's office email?
I believe you are the one that I was in
Yes,
contact
Janice.
with. You've been
Janice
wonderful.
Mueller.
Thank you. Yes. she's
Okay,
been
so
great.
if you would email it
Yes.
in complete, then we can do a better job.
Oh, that would be great. Thank you.
All right, and there is another trustee, Trustee Kay McDonald.
Yeah, I just wanted to add to Trustee DeKroob's list, if we could also get some idea of the impact. Like, do we have any idea of the impact it's having?
Yeah, and again, would you email all the,
Okay.
the best questions come in the car on the way home. So, I mean, just email them so that we can make sure that we capture all of that within the response.
Okay, thanks.
Okay? I believe that we can do this by June 5th, but staff may disagree. But again, I will say, process is 2 weeks, June 5th. And if that's not possible for some reason, although I think it probably is, then we'll make sure that you're aware of that. But we will be receiving those responses in 2 weeks.
That's awesome. And the last thing that I'll say, if you don't mind, Madam Chair, I know I'm finished. Is that okay?
Sure.
I use the We Rise initiative, again, working with what I'm dealing with my son and accountability. So it is really great because I do look at this as a valuable resource in aiding. And I am aware that there is an unaware. And so instead of going immediately into attack mode, I'm really trying to work within the system and with you guys to ensure that not only my son, but everyone benefits to have a clear understanding of how to aid our children.
And we appreciate that, and that is our intention as well.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, our last delegation is from Mr. Iliumati. And it, again, is on We Rise Together. Welcome.
Good evening. Actually, I think I should have come before Nicole. So everything the parents have talked about tonight, the black parents, points to one thing. And with regard to when Janice was given some information, I was caught by the semantics between whether or not the snack was in the garbage or how long it was. To me, I just wanted to bring that back to say it doesn't really matter how long it was. If the food's been put in the garbage, it should have stayed in the garbage. It shouldn't have been given to the child 2 days later to take back home. So let's be clear about that. The United Nations, in its report regarding anti-black racism in Canada, states that the racism and anti-black racism is invisible and it's normal. And that's one of the reasons why we are here today, to say racism or anti-black racism is not always intended. About the We Rise program, we, the advisory committee, thank the board for taking the time on this project. But today, on behalf of our children being educated by the board, we have to give some feedback before the trustees, as well as the school administrators, because it is our experience that we have given feedback and it hasn't been taken on board. I am a parent representing Mississauga, the largest municipality in Peel, and I have sat on the We Rise advisory committee since December. And every time the board comes with its beautiful presentations, the colors and effusion about how they're doing so well, it strikes me that we're in two different worlds. Why is the community and why are the parents on one side thinking there's no impact, but the board is winning an award on the backs of our children's pain? I'd like to say to the board, the next time you're nominated for an award for the We Rise Together program, take one of us with you so that we can tell them about what you're not doing. The We Rise Action Plan creates a narrative about experience and awareness of teachers, students, and parents. It does not speak to the real experience of targeting and marginalizing young black boys in the Peel School Board. It doesn't speak to the psychological harm those students endure when they go home crying, when they self-harm, or they just stop trying to achieve in the classroom, like Nicole's son has done. It excludes their experience as patients in therapy because of how they perceive their treatment at the hands of teachers of this board. This information has been shared with you. I remember the first time I went to the meeting about We Rise, I wrote to the director and I said, this particular project has been set up to fail. And since December, There is nothing either in your glossy, fantastic, communication-led information that you put on your website or in those meetings that has changed my mind. And I'm not the only one. As a community, these boys are our future. And as Renu Mandain of the Ontario Human Rights Commission said at the discussion about equity 2 weeks ago, school is the first interaction of our students with our systemic structures and even the state. If we get it wrong, we can cause damage that lasts a lifetime and even generational trauma. We need to get it right. Yet, as this is a project to respond to systemic anti-Black racism towards young Black boys seeking education at the board, the project in itself is rife with racism. And we know and understand, as I said earlier, that this might not be intended, as it never is. The action plan itself has 4 domains, and one of the first is engaging with the community. And when you go through the list of community members that have been included, we have various nonprofit organizations. We also have the police. And one says to oneself, why is our education rife with the police when they're seeking education? And you might have the answer to that, but there are no health organizations. We hear a lot of the time about how people develop anxieties. I mean, when Peter Joshua joined the board, he had a brilliant meetings in September last year, but there were 2 students who spoke poignantly about the impact of being at school, and it was harrowing for us to read in the papers in the Toronto Star. The board has made it clear, for instance, Peel Police is sitting at the table of the advisory council, but in the last 6 months, Peel Police the representative hasn't said a word. So is it a subliminal issue that when we have to deal with Black parents and Black children, we always have to have the police in there? We know that the ministry gives the SRO program $9 million a year. But what is that really about? There are parent representatives on the advisory, but there are at least 4 times more administrators on the advisory. So at first, you look at the minutes, when the first meeting the advisory had, it was without parents. And you know, therefore, that the parents' feedback is not really a priority. And at first it was, we're going to have 2 parents from each municipality, then it trickled down to 1 per municipality. And in terms of the parent engagement model set up by the Ministry of Education, parents matter in education. They matter as vital partners who contribute to the work of our educators, schools, and communities. So when I approached the Parent Involvement Committee, which is funded by the ministry, about the We Rise program last year, I got a curt or a cute, We Rise Together is not one of our priorities. So I think, well, what do you mean? I looked at the mandate, and it was about parent engagement in for student success. And so there I went back and forth with that particular committee that's funded by the ministry. And the ministry's engagement model is making sure that you are inclusive. But up until today, that particular, I don't understand why that particular committee brushed aside the issues of We Rise, the issues of Black boys being targeted, being marginalized. And so I asked the board to investigate that, to look into why that happened. And then all of a sudden, we get a $10,000 amount thrown at us like we're strippers on a pole, and you can have this. And I'm thinking, what is this about? You don't talk to us. First of all, you said you've got nothing to do with Rerise. You only want to deal with homework. And then all of a sudden, you're giving us $10,000. We don't know whether we should be asking for more. We don't know how you came about this amount. You have not contacted us. But the board is very defensive around that particular committee. So last week, I popped my head round when they were having a meeting, and I got my response. It's not representative of people who look like me. It's not representative of people who look like the sons that my colleagues have brought here today. And because of that, that might have been one of the reasons why PIC wasn't concerned about us. And I would like the board to look into this, or I will be complaining to the ministry because it's ministry funded, and we need to get an answer, because that in itself shows you how systemic racism really, really works. No one from, the board left, again, the board left the parent engagement to the 3 parent representatives, myself, Mr. Alton Brooks, and Tamara Knightley, with regard to really getting together the parent advisory, just because apparently there was an overwhelming response to parent reps on the advisory committee. So it was thought, and it was a good thought, that the other parents should be brought on board so that we could actually have a larger discussion about our children's experiences. But then the board gives us this list of parents who wanted, and every time you you sent out an email blast to these parents, you get responses. Why the heck are you sending me this email? I don't even live in Peel. I don't know who you are. I don't know who Rerise is. And so, I don't know, but were we given a fake list? So for 3 months, we are physically, well, not physically, but digitally removing names or people telling us that they don't want anything to do with this project. They don't know about it, and they don't know how we got their emails. And that was a lot of time to put us through to actually get something going. I'm very cynical at this point, and I kind of think that was a little bit of sabotage. And I'd like to really hear what the board has to say about that. The advisory committee meetings they're a hoot. The typical meeting will be a presentation overload to the participants with no way for the parents to actually get their teeth into what's really going on. So you would not get any background information. In December, I had asked for resource packs. Because if it's an advisory committee, then the advisory committee is supposed to give feedback on what's happening. You're supposed to know what is going on. The board makes its decisions, comes and says, this is what is happening. We love what's going on. And every meeting that I have attended, I have been able to say, that is wrong. So for instance, I would say to them, We Rise Together is a change management project. So it's about changing behavior in an organization. Why is there no change management consultant attached to it?
Sir, I'm going to ask you, you've been over 10 minutes, so I'm going to ask you just to summarize. Okay. Thank you.
All right. And so then there's a bit on, I want to talk about Black experiences and anti-black racism bias awareness training. We know that there are 267 schools. We know that there are only 13 schools that are pilot projects, and we know that on an average there are 3 teachers each who go to workshops. So it's not really training, as we know. And in terms of when we want to integrate the experience of the Black Canadians into the curriculum, we wonder, a lot of us wonder, why on earth would you have To Kill a Mockingbird in the school curriculum? This is a book in which a particular character, Mr. Robinson, was called a nigger. And you will have that book read out in the classes, which validates those children who are calling our children nigger in the playground. So when my son started school 2 years ago, he was called a monkey. The next year, he was called a monkey. And even 3 months ago, I got a call from the schools and said, oh, you know, your son was called a nigger in the playground, but he wasn't the only black boy. There were lots of black boys there too. So
Okay,
that
sir.
was an improvement.
Sir?
Okay, I need to give you some feedback regarding some recommendations, if that's okay?
Well, no, it isn't, actually, I'm sorry, but there
You won't let me do that?
Well, no, you've exceeded your time limit, according to the bylaws. We do have your presentation, and it's quite fulsome. Again, I'd like to direct it to staff, who will take a look at it, respond to it as accurately as we possibly can, and hopefully be able to bring it back to us at our next board meeting. But it's possible, I haven't read it all because we just received the revised copy as we began the board meeting tonight.
All right.
But we'll do our very best to respond to it according to process in the 2-week time period.
All right then. Thank you. Do you have any questions for me?
Now, I do have a couple of trustees who have questions of clarification. Trustee DeCreux.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I want to thank you for coming forward. It's really helpful. I do appreciate your perspective, especially as somebody on the committee. I think what I'm understanding from your presentation is that we need to pay attention as a board to the impact. So what are we actually doing? How much impact is that having on the system? And I think that's very important. So I'm wondering if we can, as a board, work together with administration and put together a way that we can have measurable targets that we can work towards, and that we can find a way to measure the actual impact that we're having on the system. Again, you know, what do the trainings look like? Who is being trained? How are we changing that behavior? So I do appreciate your presentation tonight. Thank you.
So again, I would ask you
Yeah,
to put those
I'll do
thoughts down
Sure.
in emails. I do believe we do have targets with regard to this project because we are spending money on it, and so I do believe, and it is a project within our report card for student success. So, but again, we need to review this, make sure. But please put them down and send them to Director Joshua. I have Trustee Singh.
Hi, thank you as well. I'd ask, you probably have some revised notes in there. I don't have the notes. We don't have it. So if you don't mind, just.
Oh, the revised you don't have?
Yeah. So if you don't mind, if you could email it to
Sure.
the director.
To
and
the director's
or
office,
Janet,
Director Joshua.
whoever, and I'd like to look at them because, so that would be very helpful. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Singh. Thank you.
No, hang on. You're popular. Student Trustee Parr.
Again, thank you for your delegation today. I apologize for making you repeat something you already stated, but I needed more clarification on, I wasn't quite able to catch it. You had mentioned something about SRO officers within schools, and I wasn't quite able to catch it. If you could just provide some clarification on what you were stating.
Oh, I was saying that the SRO program in schools has a budget of $9 million. and that's the budget. And I was kind of thinking that if we could have that much money for SROs in schools with guns and handcuffs, then we could have some money for the particular project, because the project doesn't have a project team.
Can I qualify for you that that's a police budget? It is not a school board budget.
Right.
I didn't say it was a school budget.
I know, but I'm saying we can't access the police budget.
No, I was being facetious.
Thank you.
Okay.
One more. Yeah, one more. Vice Chair Nurse.
Thank you, through you, Madam Chair, and thank you for coming. Definitely appreciate the presentation. I want to ask you a little bit more about your meeting with PIC and the response that you received when you, from your presentation, you said that you shared with them that, I guess this is the Parent Advisory Committee of We Rise Together, and you did you make a request for funding for a project?
The request I was made was to not for funding, because at that time I didn't know what it was. I just needed to know what are they doing about the We Rise program, and I asked I asked Mr. Peter Joshua to look into that complaint, but he didn't.
Okay. And eventually $10,000 showed up in your budget with no explanation,
with
nothing tied to it.
Yeah, with no explanation. So, and I asked Mr. Peter Joshua again, why are we getting $10,000 and why isn't anybody talking to us? But Mr. Peter Joshua said, it's $10,000, take it, and he sent me a link about how we can spend the money. But it disrespected our community.
I hear that. And actually, this is not necessarily a question for you, sir, but it's more a question for administration. PIC is funded by the ministry. I'd like to know what they are doing with their money. If we could come up with some sort of sheet of the monies that are coming in, the monies that are coming out. Because if we're funding, if they provided the Parent Advisory Committee with $10,000, there should be some accountability there to know where it came from and why. I'm not asking for an answer now, obviously, but just in terms of, like I said, eventually some accountability of that money flow.
Right, but that wasn't PIC money, the 10. You knew that. It's not PIC money.
It certainly is from PIC.
Okay, Director Joshua, we don't debate during this time, but I am going to allow Director Joshua to respond.
Through you, Madam Chair.
Oh, sorry, coming. Yep. Okay.
Through you, Madam Chair, in response to Trustee Vice Chair Nurse's request, we can certainly provide you information on the PIC budget in terms of the work that they do in terms of outreach. The request for funding to support the We Rise Advisory was our intent to certainly support. Outside of any interaction with PIC, we felt that this parent group was anxious to continue to work, and certainly some of the things that were coming out in terms of increasing communication and support and information. We didn't actually allocate a specific amount. That was a ballpark, but working closely with the parent group from We Rise Advisory to really determine what was their need in terms of addressing that communication challenge.
So this was not PIC money?
Not PIC money.
At all?
No.
Okay, so can I just clarify something? I was told, and we were told, the parents were told, that it is PIC money. And not only was I told that it was PIC money by Mr. Joshua, we had a telephone conversation about this. So I don't understand why all of a sudden this is no longer PIC money.
Well, I think we're going to clarify this because the he said, she said isn't going to go very far here. But I do have two more trustees, and I hope we aren't going to debate. We are not going to debate tonight. We're going to respond in our usual thoughtful way. Trustee Kay McDonald, you have a question.
Thank you. I was intrigued about the comment with regards to the list. Could you expand on that a bit more? Because I'm a little confused, because I was first aware of it on Monday, but you said that you had a lot of people on the list that didn't even, like out of Peel that are not, so I'm not sure what's that list and what was it given to you for?
So the list, unless there's evidence to the contrary, the list was about, we were told that the list was the number of people who had applied to be parents on the advisory, parent reps on the advisory committee. We had about 60 names on that list. And so every time I or my colleagues would send out a notice for a meeting, we would get lots of people write us back saying, where did you get my email from? I don't even live in Peel. I don't want anything to do with this project. So eventually we did a process of elimination by saying if we don't get responses from people, then we would assume that they don't want anything to do with us. So we did that, and I think we had about, out of 60, we had about 15. We had about 15 parents.
15?
15, yes.
Thank you.
One more. Trustee Green.
Chair, this is not for Mr. Kohler. I'm a little bit puzzled, and I'm a little bit sort of confused, and I'm gonna ask for a report. And the reason why, I'm the co-chair for the advisory council, and if there's some money, and we're dealing with budget right now, and if there's money being offered for any reason at all to the parents group, and I am not aware of that, I'm sitting down here. I'm not gonna go out on the limb tonight and say really what's on my mind at this time, but I'm gonna ask for a report because I want to see the allocation and where that money is coming from, because we're working with budget right now, and people are making. We know that we have listened and we have heard a lot of cases and where money needs to go and so forth. And if there's going to be allocation or offer as co-chair, because I supposed to be. My role is to report back to the board and what's happening. And for me to hear this here, what do I tell my colleagues what's happening or what's taking place? So I'm gonna ask for a report. Thank you.
We will clarify. And we do have your notes, and so we'll be sure to go over them and try to clarify and answer each and every, I'll call them allegations, but whatever it is you need. Thank you. Okay. Is everybody okay at the board table? I meant for a recess or a break. But I know. Okay. All right. I get it. We're going to move to 8.1 is the response to the delegation of David Lang regarding input on the Peel District School Board budget priorities. And the letter is here, and I think as a board we have already incorporated the request into our discussions with regard to budget, and we've discussed it at least 2 times, and so that will be factored into the budget when we approve. Well, I don't mean positively, but the discussions will be factored when we approve the budget in a couple weeks. Trustee Williams, will you move it? Thank you. Trustee Lawton, will you second it? All those in favor? Carried. Now I'm going to move to new business, and as was stated, 9.1 is Trustee Lawton is putting a motion on the board with regard to the pride flag. Trustee Lawton, excuse me, the floor is yours. Do you have a seconder? I believe Trustee Cameron told me he wanted to second it. It's all yours.
Thank you. Madam Chair, whereas the Peel District School Board is committed to the principles of equity and inclusion, and whereas the administrative regulations of Board Policy Number 62, flag raising, do not permit schools to fly flags other than flags listed in Regulation 298 of the Education Act, be it resolved that the Peel District School Board approve 1. Revising Board Policy Number 62, flag raising, to permit raising flags in addition to those listed in Regulation 298 of the Education Act. 2. Establishing a committee which will include trustee representation to develop an operating procedure that will include criteria for reviewing requests from individuals and/or groups to raise flags at all Peel District School Board schools and sites. And 3, raising the pride flag and the Indigenous flag in the month of June at all Peel District School Board schools and sites.
Okay, thank you. So, Trustee Lawton, you wish to speak to the motion right now?
Thank you. I believe my colleagues have comments that they would like to make.
Okay,
I'm
thank
happy
you.
to close the.
So the motion is on the floor. It's been moved and seconded. Anyone who wishes to speak to the motion, please indicate. Trustee Kay McDonald.
Thank you. Through you, Chair. I'm proud to be part of a board that, in its quest to achieve continuous progress on equity and inclusion, is willing to listen and address the concerns of marginalized groups. As a board, we need to develop equitable and inclusive practices and policies to address the needs of all our staff and students. Since the matter of raising the flag on Peel District School Board property became headlines, I have carefully read each article, email, tweet, and messages that I have received, and listened to a myriad of opinions. That being said, I do have a few concerns. First, the fact that the school board gets into the flag flying business, we need to be careful and examine the implications of the changing of the flag policy and not rush into this decision. We have a process to amend our policies that we require all individuals to abide by. I am uncomfortable with the lack of process that this whole incident is involved with. I want to be quite clear that I am not opposed to flying the pride flag. I am not for flying the pride flag. What I want to do is to find out what policies and process we will have in place before I can make such a decision. I wanted to also be quite clear that trustees, as it was reported, were not stalling, and we were not aware for months or even years, as has been reported. We have to make sure that our policy on flag raising is fair and equitable, and we need to be purposeful in our policies. I have another concern, specifically for voting for something that is an unknown. I cannot vote for a policy that does not exist. As we embark on raising the pride flag or any other flags, what guiding principles are we using to change the process? Which pride flag are we using? As a general rule, the Peel District School Board uses an exclusionary flag. Many racialized members of the LGBTQ+ community do not see themselves reflected in the flags and decals that are currently being used by this board. I also want to highlight that this, to me, is not about leveraging one group against the other, because that's not the work of equity. This is about doing what is right and ensuring that our flag policy is thoughtful, inclusive, fair, and equitable. We need to follow a process, and make sure that a new flag raising policy is indeed inclusive, equitable, and fair across the entire board. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Green.
Madam Chair,
Yes. Sorry?
rules need to be followed. No flag in the boardroom.
Oh, yes, absolutely. You're right. No banners or flags, signs, etc. Appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, in 15 years of being on this board as a trustee, I have been a champion for our board, for our student, and for our staff. I believe in inclusion. I believe in equity. When I see people, I don't see color, I don't see religion, I don't see culture, and I don't see sexual orientation. I see individual as a people created by God and supposed to be loved by each other. And that's why I support everyone. And I've done that and I've proven that over 15 years in supporting my school. Prior to coming to this board, I won't say where, but in my previous job, when I saw someone from the LGBTQ community was being kicked and stamped on the ground, I would have been the one to go to his rescue, took off my jacket, wrapped him up, and called the ambulance and stayed until the ambulance came. That's how I am. I'm passionate, I love people, and I support everyone, my community. Now, as a trustee, anyone will tell you I'm the trustee with the big mouth because I ask the tough question that may have repercussion on this board or any community. So we were rushed a few weeks ago in a meeting, and I won't go into detail. Something was presented to me, and as I would for any group, I asked those tough questions. But it was clear and evident that someone from that meeting, and trustee, mark you, trustee information is a private session, would have left and take that information that I have asked those tough questions, just like I would have done for any other group. And because of that, what transpired out of that? I was attacked. You sitting here tonight, and you have seen a trustee who was hurt, torn, ripped apart. And my family had to put me in a plane and send me away for a couple of days to heal. There are some good people in our board. I listened to a former superintendent last board meeting talk, and how respectful she was. And all the delegation, you were eloquent in defending your community. We went back, we had a discussion as a board and talk about, and yes, this motion that you see, it didn't just come about tonight. And talk about the support for your group. But I want to say to you, the things that happened to me over the last few weeks have hurt me and have hurt my family, and I'm not saying anybody sitting here did it, but I have some of the emails to prove it. Because when somebody's going to call me a nigger and tell me I know where you live, and when somebody's going to say, I wish your grandchildren born gay and lesbian, I wish your son born blind, that's an attack on me. Why? I've supported everyone over the last few years. For the first time, I cried in the boardroom over there. I have counseled many people over the years as a minister, and this time there was nobody to counsel me or to comfort me because I broke down in tears. My trustees friend who have read some of the emails, Trustee Cameron said to me, Trustee Green, nobody should send those to you. I'm not saying it was staff. I don't know where they're coming from, because most of them, some staff did bully me and threaten me to make sure that I didn't get reelected. Yes, and I got the emails to prove them. And the director asked me for them, and I said, no, I will deal with this one myself. am hurt. The people that I trusted, you have let me down. I don't know who it is. And then you ask me to support. The board have made the decision to support this. And I told them what to do. But when you sit here tonight, I'm ripping apart. I just came back off a plane last night because I went away to heal. But I'm not healed. The pain, the same pain that I hear that your community go through, that pain was inflicted on me. And I feel the pain tonight. And I want everyone to know this is not how we treat each other. We're supposed to love each other, treat each other with respect. But I'm telling you tonight, I'm going to stand up tonight. I already told the board where I stand. Because why? I heard from kids. I heard from students. I already gave them my decision. But if you're waiting, anybody waiting, the media lady who called me from the Global Mail and attacked me and disrespect me and tell me, you better tell me where you stand. You don't own me. You don't work for me. I don't work for you. You don't boss me around. And then you're going to print what you want to print in the paper? I already gave the board my decision. And why? Anywhere else I want people to know, understand, any other employment, you don't go in, nobody bully, and there would be consequences. So, Madam Chair, I already told the board we made a decision, and that decision is supported. But if you're waiting for me to see me get up here tonight and raise my hand, I'm not going to. You know why? Because I'm torn. And I'm hurting. And I'm in pain. And if it was not for those kids that call me, talk to me, you'd not have my support. And I don't care what want to happen. And for those who said, you know, they threatened me with election, let me tell you something. God has put me in that position, and only Him going to remove me. So, with that said, I just want people to know, and the emails are here. I've shown these emails because I did not want people to say, Trustee Green is making up this. I've shown some of them to my colleagues, and they read them and thought they were despicable. Because after the email, the ones that was polite and respectful was CC to all trustee, but the attacks came from blind email and came directly at me. No apology that anyone, and I know there's good people, but and I have shared, because I got friends from this community that supports me a lot, and I've shared with them, and they tell me, you know, you got our sympathy for this. But right now, I don't think apology can fix what happened to me and the attack. Madam Chair, go ahead with your motion. I've already given you my decision last board meeting and tell you where I stand. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Green. The board was well aware of the attack on Trustee Green, and I hope he feels that we tried to support you. We understand how hurtful people can be, and it is absolutely unacceptable. And so I hope you felt that support, Trustee Green. We talked about a few days ago, last week, and I told you that we were all disgusted with what happened to you, and not to take away from that, but it happens to a lot of us. And it's not a measure necessarily of the people like you that are here advocating on behalf of other people, but it happens, and we all need to understand that we're people, and we're all together in this, and we all are affected by bullying and hate, and we need a little bit more respect. And so I think, I'm not talking about, on behalf of you, Trustee Green, but on behalf of the board, we hope, and we aren't saying that it's any one of you, but we hope that you will think about this and understand that words do hurt, and we're here trying to do our best. We don't have any other agendas. We're just here representing the public in the best interests of our kids, and it's an incredible privilege to do that. But when this happens, it shakes us to know that people can be that hateful. So Trustee Green, I'm sorry on behalf of the board. I know I speak for all your colleagues. I'm sorry this has happened to you, but I'm glad that you brought it to the forefront. I know the administration is very supportive as well. We do not condone this. In future, if anything we can do to help you, that I certainly believe that you deserve that. So thank you for bringing it forward. I think it has shown people just exactly how some of these things turn sour. With regard, email. I'm telling you, I don't think anybody'd say it to your face, but boy, those emails are unbelievable when they're anonymous. So, if there are any other speakers to the motion, I will ask Trustee Lawton to close debate. Trustee Williams.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I can't help but share my piece. I'm with this board for almost 21 years. I guess you and myself, we are the elderly on this board.
I think you're much older than I am, Trustee.
Maybe a little. But over the years, as a board, we are always supportive of all the people that we serve within our community. And when this issue came to the board a few weeks ago, I was somewhat apprehensive, and I share a concern that I have, not against the raising of the flag, but I think I did say that I can perceive an exodus of students probably going elsewhere. That's the only concern I have. But then I listened to the delegations a couple weeks ago, and I was moved by what I've heard from the delegation, what they're suffering. And I thought to myself, if raising the flag will help to sort of, help them to feel safer and be more accommodating to them and their cause, I will have to, in all conscience, support this motion, because I truly believe, although some might not, but I truly believe that we are all God's creation. And none of us choose to be who we are who we are. And I think it's incumbent upon us as a board to support all the people that we serve. And for the stated reason, I will support this motion, because I believe I truly believe in my heart that it's the right thing to do. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Trustee Andrews.
Thank you, Madam Chair. It's important that staff and students feel welcome, safe, and supported in our schools. Feeling safe and a sense of belonging makes a difference in student well-being and achievement. Everyone is entitled to full respect and acceptance when they are in our classrooms. Students are this board's priority. No student should have to be afraid every day and fight for who they are. They need to know that they are safe and accepted to be themselves. We need to be that safe place, especially if our school is the only safe place for them. And if flying the pride flag is one more step towards that, and if it makes a difference even for one student, then I support it. I actually heard from a student in my community who called me and said, Trustee Andrews, and I quote, "Flying the pride flag would be amazing. It's the right thing to do. These are my friends, and I would be happy and proud to be a part of it." And then asked, can I actually raise the flag? Thank you.
Trustee Cameron.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, that's okay.
Thank you. Through you, Madam Chair, I would like to just add a bit of support for Trustee Green because he and I were together on a Saturday in the northwest end of Caledon at an early years conference, walking through with Superintendent Uniacke, and Trustee Green had recently received some of these disgusting email, and he shared some of them with me. And it bothered me that whole day, the next day, and the following day. I called him early in the morning to say, are you all right? I was more concerned with my colleague at that point than the issue, than raising a flag, or any issues, because I could tell that what this had done to him. And I did say to him face to face, nobody should ever have to receive those kinds of messages. And for a man who's serving the public in consistent way that he just identified, serving all, here he is, furthest from his home, furthest in the northwest end of the whole region, visiting and walking around so to learn more about early years programs on a Saturday morning at 9 o'clock. I don't know how he beat me there when I'm closer to that area, but he was there. And so David, I just want to say I want to support you in every way. That never should happen. And this is public service. I mean, that's just another level of confusion for us when we receive something like that. So thank you for your good work and your depth of explanation around what happened to you. You would know that, Madam Chair, that as a seconder for the motion, that I'm definitely 100% unequivocally in support of this, and that is in large part as well, not only a personal opinion, but it's also a reflection of my community. I've shared with people, I've received 21 email from my community, and in some cases they were, they would just say, please just fly the flag, without any explanation, but wanting us to get back to the business of taking care of all children in education in the classrooms and helping all teachers and helping all schools to move forward. So I am absolutely in favor of this motion. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Power.
Thank you. Through you, Madam Chair, first off, I'd like to empathize with Trustee Green. I feel for you. I actually met Trustee Green on the weekend as well, and we had this conversation as well. But I'd like to point out something that Trustee Green had mentioned, which is, I think, very important and very crucial, is that how he had felt is how this community also feels.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
And I think it's important that we focus on that. Carolyn isn't here today, but she sent me a message of something she'd like to share, and with the board's permission, I'd like to speak on her behalf.
Sure.
So, sorry, before that, I was actually visiting a school with Trustee Crocker, and I was meeting with the Leadership Council, and one of the girls had actually asked us, what do we think about the flag? And not only her, but other students have reached out to Carolyn and I and have extended their support for the flag. And as we all know, Carolyn and I have an obligation to represent these students. And so today we'd like to do just that. So I'd like to read something that Carolyn had sent. These are her words. A friend of mine, Spencer West, recently told me one of the most eye-opening comments I've ever heard, and it directly correlates to raising the pride flag. He said, "I have no legs. In 2012, I climbed cannot pronounce the mountain's name, but he had climbed a very big mountain.
Very big mountain.
Coming out as gay was harder than climbing a mountain with no legs. Students this day and age are constantly worried about what their peers will say. The importance of this flag lies with what it represents. Open arms. We are welcoming every student from all walks of life into our schools. We have an obligation to show our support to our LGBTQ staff, parents, students, and fly that flag high." So those are her words, and I'd like to echo those words. And at the same time, as I feel for Trustee Green, and I have faith in our board, and I have faith in Director Joshua to investigate the emails, Carol and I would like to extend our support for the motion.
Thank you. Okay, so are there any other trustees that want to speak to the motion before I ask Trustee Lawton to close debate? I see none. Trustee Lawton?
Thank you, Chair. Through you. Sometimes we don't realize we're not being equitable until someone tells us. Once we do know, it is incumbent on each of us to recognize those inequities and to eliminate them. This issue is just like having your second or third child. Each child comes with feelings and priorities and a sense of what they need to live their best life and to thrive. Each child is a wonder unto themselves, and what they need may bear no resemblance to the needs of the one before or after. When we choose to accept and acknowledge and appreciate each other, when we look for ways to make each of us happy and comfortable and successful, we're not taking space away from the first who filled our heart. We are making that space, that heart, bigger to include all of us. We have heard this flag is what some of our children and our staff need to feel included, and so we must make that space to raise the flag. There have been many comments about trustees representing our constituents. The children in our schools are our constituents. We became trustees to help provide the absolute best opportunity possible for every child and staff member. We feel each person has the right to be recognized in their own light, supported in the ways they need, and celebrated for who they are. I do not believe there is one trustee on this board who does not feel despair at the thought of any child not feeling safe or welcomed, no matter the cause. It is not up to us to decide what equity means for each of our children. It is up to us to make sure they have a secure and dependable and welcoming space that allows them to feel valued and included. I urge my colleagues to join me in supporting this motion. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Having said that, then, the motion is before us, been moved and seconded. All those in favor of the motion, please raise your hands. Those opposed? Abstentions? Abstention? The motion carries. The board listens, the board consults, the board follows process, the board debates, and this board, in my 30 years, always makes good decisions. So, can we move on then to let me see, where am I? 9.2 are the recommendations of the Special Education and Advisory Committee of yeah, I know. Oh, come on. Where's the love? Where's the love? Oh. Okay, let's go to Special Education Advisory Committee of April 17th. Spec Ed is, Trustee Lawton. Moved by Trustee Lawton, seconded by Trustee McDonald. Are there any questions or comments? All those in favor? Carried. 9.2 are the recommendations of the Physical Planning and Building Committee of May the 7th. Trustee, my God, Green is still. You want to put those on the floor? Thank you. Seconded by Trustee Cameron. Me. All those in favor, it's information for receipt. All those in favor? Carried. 9.4, the recommendations of the Instructional Program Curriculum Committee. There is one recommendation here for the Regional Learning Choices Program Steering Committee with regard to West Credit, who is offering a Regional Learning Choices program for skilled trades. And there's information for receipt. I need to tell you that last week I was at a Ratepayers Association meeting, Cooksville Munden Park, and this gentleman stood up and said, how come we're not supporting the trades? How come we all think our children are going to be doctors, lawyers, and engineers? What happened to the trades? And knowing that this was coming tonight, I was able to tell him, well, let me tell you about the Peel District School Board and our understanding of pathways and students who need things other than university but need to get a secondary school diploma. So this is such good news, and it is well supported by this board, and I'll look forward to watching it grow. Trustee Green's moved it. Trustee Crocker, you want to second it? All those in favor? Carried. Sorry. 9.5 are the changes to the Peel District School Board bylaws. They are here for approval. There's the Discipline Committee. Most of this is housekeeping, but it has been through the Trustee Review Committee, and so you'll see there's discipline, there's delegations. Public question period, which is helpful to clarify petitions as well. So, Trustee Andrews, you chair this committee. You want to put these on the floor? Great. Seconded by Trustee Nurse. Questions, comments? All those in favor? Carried. 9.6 is the board meeting schedule for the 2018-19 school year. It is here for approval as well, and pretty self-explanatory. Moved by Trustee DeCroop, seconded by Trustee B. McDonald. All those in favor? Carried. We'll go to 10 point, wait a minute, where is this? Pardon me? Oh, yeah. I did the bylaws, yep. So we're on to 10. 10.1 is the update on the Asian Heritage Month activities. There's a whole plethora, a book on forest here for you to read, but obviously our schools participated energetically and with lots of different kinds of activities that improved understanding. So, who would like to put this on the board? Trustee K. McDonald, you put that on the floor, please. Thank you. Seconded by Trustee Singh. I don't think I've had you do anything tonight. All those in favor? Carried. Can I move then to 12? 12.1, 12.2 are OPSBA Connects, May 8th and May 14th. They are here for receipt. Trustee Nurse, put them on the floor. Trustee Lawton, you'll second them. Any questions or comments? All those in favor? Carried. Are there any reports from trustee representatives on councils or associations? Trustee Williams.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Last week, I think it was Monday, a volunteer NBC held their AGM. In attendance was myself and Trustee Crocker, who graciously received a plaque for his services to the organization. So I want to publicly say congratulations to Trustee Crocker. From all accounts, you did a great job there.
Well, only his supporters were there, I'm sure.
And so to go back to your 31 years, 30 years?
30.
I'm 21.
Let's not get.
I'm 21, so you're older than me.
No, I just more experienced, not necessarily old. Thank you, Trustee Williams, and congratulations, Trustee Crocker. We were unaware of that. Very good. Any other reports? Seeing none, then can I move to question period? I'll go over here. Trustee Power. Yes, sir.
I don't have a question. I had a comment. We're good?
Yes,
Yeah,
of
okay.
course.
Sorry. Through you, Madam Chair, today I had the absolute privilege of attending and being a part of Peel Film Festival.
Yes.
I was also joined by Trustee Cameron and Director Joshua. I believe it was 850 seats that were filled up today by students and staff of the Peel District School Board, and we were able to showcase films, and winners received scholarships to universities, and overall it was just a phenomenal event. I just wanted to thank the organizing committee. There were teachers that have dedicated hours to organizing an event of that scale. Also, specifically Ms. Frischetti, who had brought me on, and Ms. Scheffel, who guided me today. Along with that, I'd also like to share with the board, for the last time, because it's this Friday, Elevate, which is our Peel-wide dance competition, is happening this Friday. Again, if anyone would like to attend, do send me an email. I just wanted to say one thing. I'm not bringing it back up because I have spoken about it a lot. I just didn't have the opportunity to thank publicly Trustee Singh for his support. He laughs about it, but whenever I need help, whenever I face adversity, he always helps. And honestly, although looking at his beard, it wouldn't be like it, but Trustee Singh has been like an older brother to me. But if you put it side by side, no way. But anyways, yeah, I just wanted to thank him today at the board for his hard work and his efforts in guiding my numerous ventures this year. Thank you.
That's very, very well said, and I know that you're a creative, energetic student. So I know that's a challenge, but he's your much older brother. That's great. Trustee DeCroop. Trustee DeCroop. Trustee Andrews. Trustee Lawton. Trustee Cameron.
I heard that heavy sigh.
No, there was no sigh.
I have my money ready. I would just like to say that this past Wednesday at Humberview Secondary School, there's the money. There was a community meeting. Save $1 for another time.
Great, okay.
There was a community information session held for the Humberview area community with respect to the new facility that will be built.
Yes.
The track and field and
yes.
stands and lighting and scoreboard. And I'd just like to say thank you to staff because communications folks were there. Ryan, Carla, and also Associate Director Gill was there, Superintendent Logue, and a whole host of feeder school staff were there. It was a great turnout, and it ended in the most positive way. There were lots of questions, but lots of people there. The architect was there, or the designer of the track was there. Oh, Randy Wright was there as well, Controller Wright. Thank you, Randy. There were lots of questions, but there were lots of people who had the answers, and I think that's why it went so incredibly smoothly. And it's a real exciting time in the Humberview family of schools right now in the Bolton area. So thank you to all the staff for all of your help. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. From your lips to Mississauga's issues. Trustee Nurse. Sorry.
Thank you, through you, Madam Chair. I also want to congratulate the organizing committee
Oh,
for
I'm sorry.
today's. That's
Supposed
okay
to
for
say that.
today.
By the way,
today's,
Vice Chair
film festival.
Nurse was at the film festival this morning, too.
And
okay.
Trustee Lawton was
Oh,
there
and
as
Trustee
well.
Lawton,
So
too.
We were there.
You got to keep
Yeah,
a
and
list. You got to keep a list.
Okay, quiet. Actually, I just want to thank trustees because if you recall, I did ask for a donation earlier on in the year for the third place prizes. So that was very much appreciated. And to the superintendents who dug deep into their pockets, you don't understand how that was appreciated by the group because really without your support, I'm not sure if they would have been able to do this. And there were many superintendents who came out this morning. I hope you enjoyed it and that we're really, really impressed by the students. Once again, they continue to make us Peel proud. So left there feeling incredibly good. And regarding the Elevate on Friday, absolutely, if people can attend. I think it's at, doors open at 5:45 and performance is at 6:15. Is it, which school is it at again? I should, Harold Braithwaite. And just so you know, my daughter's competing and she hates to lose. So, challenge on.
Okay, Trustee Crocker. Trustee K. McDonald. Trustee Williams. Trustee Singh.
So I also wanted to plug in Elevate. Actually, credit to Kushwal. He's also donating the money left over to. We had a death in my area, and they started a fund to help the youth violence and other youth-related issues. So he's donating all the funds towards their fund that they set up. So I'm
Great.
really proud of that he's doing that.
Thank you. Trustee Green.
I just want to really echo, and I haven't said it publicly, over the last couple of weeks with everything that was happening, I want to really say, as a board, I want to thank my colleague because each and every one have stepped up to the plate and really supported me and my family. And I want to say publicly, thank you very much. My I've shared with one of my superintendent what I was going through. And she just lent me her shoulder, and I want to say, you know who you are, and I want to say thank you very much for that support. And, even Director Joshua, as, stretch out the olive branch through all of this. And even though tonight I abstained from voting, but as you know, when we discussed this, I said, okay, this decision we made, so we own it, we support it. But tonight, the way I felt, I could not sit here and really, I can't condone bad behavior. So, but, I support this, and I support it because of our student. So thank you.
Thank you. Trustee McDonald. Terrific. Can I just take a moment to we talk about longevity. And that's meant as a compliment, but Beryl Ford, former chair and trustee, is here this evening. She was here last meeting. And if it's okay, Beryl, I consider you to be my mentor because we worked through a few challenges together, certainly as chair and vice chair. And it's great to see you looking so well and continuing to support our board. So thank you very much. And you don't have any questions, do you, Beryl?
You made a great decision.
Are there any questions from the public? Oh, yes, sir. Oh, okay. Yes, Mr. Taylor.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Stan Taylor, Brampton, Ontario. My question through you, Madam Chair, is directed for Director of Education, Peter Joshua. Sir, will you confirm receipt of a copy of my letter dated May 1st, 2018, regarding my interactions with Principal Paul Fryer and the school council at Brampton Centennial Secondary School? During the December 4th, 2017 meeting, I, among others, was forced to leave this public meeting. My records indicate that my letter was received and signed for at your office and at the Peel District Northfield office on May 7th. Today is 10 business days later. I have not received a reply, and my telephone calls to the superintendent involved on May 17, 18, and today have not been returned. I ask that you investigate and ensure that an official reply is issued as soon as possible. This is not an issue of math. This is an issue of my access to a public meeting and my right to participate and be treated fairly according to Ontario law, as stated in Regulation 612 and Peel Board's own policy 61.
Thank you. Director Joshua?
So, through the chair, thank you. Yes, I will confirm that we did receive that information and it has been shared, and we will be responding to you in short order. This has just been reviewed by administrative staff so that we have an appropriate response to your request.
And can you give me a date or a time frame?
A time frame?
It's already been 10 days.
Sorry, through the chair, we should be able to respond to you within the week.
A week, okay.
Thank you.
I would like to present my request to delegate at the next meeting. And
Okay, Mr. Cameron, you need to fill, I'm
I
sorry.
have the form.
Taylor, you need to fill out the form.
Yes.
If you haven't, it's available online.
Yeah, the form is here.
Oh, good. Then you could give it to Ms. Mueller over there.
Okay, thank you.
At the director's office. She collects all those. Okay, any other questions from the public? Terrific. All right, someone move adoption of the in-committee report. Trustee Singh, seconded by Trustee Williams. All those in favor? Carried. And adjournment. You have money for adjournment? Really? Okay, if you'll up that ante, and that's okay. Trustee Cameron's going to pay to adjourn this meeting, and it's going to be seconded by Trustee DeCrube. All those in favor? Carried. Thank you. All hail. That's right.